I'm going to find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time, I'm going to find you guilty of aggravated robbery. I'm going to sentence you to a term of 25 years in the institutional division.
A teenager committed a violent crime, but when he walked into court, his family still believed the judge might show mercy. But instead, it did the unthinkable.
And things have just changed in such an incredibly dangerous way with young people doing what I just saw you do on that screen. I cannot imagine the fear that that person had that was working in that store.
Caden was not on trial anymore. He had already pleaded guilty to aggravated robbery after he and 2 others stormed a convenience store with guns, terrorized the clerk, pulled him around, and turned an ordinary overnight shift into a nightmare.
That he now has just trying to go to work, make a living, and go home. And he has 3 people come in and not just grab a little quick something and run out, but terrorize him for quite some time. Pulling him around, yanking him around, putting guns in his face, all 3 of you.
It started just after 1:20 in the morning. A clerk was working the overnight shift at a convenience store, doing what overnight clerks do. An ordinary night that no reasonable person would expect to end any other way. 3 people walked through the door.
The terrorizing crime at a Nederland convenience store last year was captured on video. Prosecutor Tommy Coleman showing the video capturing the moment the teens ran into the store and raised their firearms at the clerk. The Jefferson County District Attorney's Office is sending a clear message to violent offenders. They should prepare for tough prosecution and longer sentences. Coleman brought up multiple violent crimes, including the shooting at Rogers Park and others, saying enough is enough.
What the surveillance camera captured was not a smash and grab, not a moment of panic where someone grabbed something and ran. The clerk was terrorized, physically pulled around the store, yanked, guns forced into his face. One suspect on the footage appeared to be carrying what looked like an assault-style rifle. These 3 had walked in armed and prepared, and they spent a sustained, deliberate stretch of time making that man feel like he had no chance of surviving the night.
Judge, I'm just asking, I'm not in the habit of begging, but on behalf of this community, I'm begging that you sentence this defendant to prison. The message that needs to be sent to this defendant and his circle of friends and anybody who would want to be like this defendant is that if you pick up a gun with the intent to commit violence, you're gonna pick up a 15, 20, 25-year prison sentence, Judge. And I'm just asking that you do this on behalf of people who live at the Pine Club apartments who just want to live in peace, people who want to go take a walk at Rogers Park and not be robbed, and somebody that wants to stop at a Speedy Mart convenience store and pick up some snacks without becoming a victim of a robbery. That's all I have, Judge.
When police arrived, the escape collapsed almost immediately. 2 vehicles sped away from the scene, missed a turn, tore across the grass and slammed into a concrete median. 2 juveniles were pulled from the wreckage. Others had bolted from the store on foot and were tracked down within minutes. A robbery had fractured into a crash scene, a foot chase, and multiple arrests, all compressed into a single chaotic window that ended with Caden in custody.
Mr. Fonnes, he is a young offender. I know the court is tired of hearing the same story over and over again, young guys with guns in here. He's got a limited criminal history. I believe this is his first felony. He's never been on any kind of felony supervision or felony probation. Unfortunately, he's just fallen into the same situation that we see so many other youthful offenders fall into. He's got no direction in life. He's very little support at home. Sees no way out of the situation that he's in, so he goes and decides to rob a store and get some money. Did the wrong thing. And if his story in the PSI is to be believable for what I believe is the right reason, he's trying to help his mom at home, he's trying to pay some bills, keep the lights on.
At the sentencing hearing, his attorney laid out everything available. Caden was 18. This was his first felony. He had never previously been on felony probation. He came from a household without structure or reliable support. And the robbery, the lawyer argued, was the catastrophic decision of a teenager. The attorney was not standing there claiming innocence. He was asking the judge to look past the act and see a young man still capable of becoming something different.
Certainly, there are better ways to go about doing that. And I hope that the time in jail has taught Mr. Fontenot that. We've got options here, Judge. We can send him to prison or we can put him on probation. Certainly, he's on the road if this conduct continues, he's on the road to prison. I don't know that the day is the best time to make that exit for him. He's got a long life to live. We can send him to prison. He can be there for a few years and come back out. I don't know that he's going to get the help that he really needs in prison.
He was asking the court to believe Caden was worth the risk. Tommy Coleman stood up and reframed every word of it. He brought the surrounding community directly into the room. Ordinary residents had been absorbing this exact pattern of armed violence. People shopping, working, walking through their own neighborhoods, caught inside moments of terror they had done nothing to deserve.
The time is come to be even more punitive on violent crime than we have been in the past, and we have been, but we're going to ensure that justice is done.
We asked District Attorney Keith Giblin what citizens should expect after the shooting at Rogers Park on Sunday.
From our office, I can tell you right now, our investigators and the Beaumont Police Department are talking to not only the victims that were shot in the incident at Rogers Park, but also people that were traumatized, people whose homes were hit, people who ran for cover. We're going to try to do everything that we can to address this situation.
A recent KFDM poll asked people what they think should be done to reduce crime. A majority said stronger prosecution.
Coleman drew a hard line between the community responses that follow violence and the place where consequences actually get decided. That place was this courtroom. Prayer vigils do not protect people. Advisory committees do not stop armed teenagers. The judge in front of him was where the rubber met the road, and he told her so without softening it.
So, Mr. Fontenot, there was a time some years ago that there really wasn't even a question. State's attorneys were recommending youthful offenders, probation, let's give everybody an opportunity. And things have just changed in such an incredibly dangerous way with young people doing what I just saw you do.
He said he was not someone who begs. Then he begged. On behalf of every person in that county who deserved to feel safe walking to a store, he asked Judge West to send Caden to prison. Probation was a piece of paper. He told the judge the sentence needed to be loud enough to travel. Loud enough that every young man in that county holding a gun and weighing his options would hear it and feel it. Judge West turned toward Caden.
I also, in addition to the PSI, get jail incident reports. And you apparently like to fight and jump people, which is what's been happening in the jail. So it makes it very difficult for me to go, oh, this is somebody that's going to get out and behave, who can follow the rules, because you can't even follow the rules in jail.
While in custody awaiting sentencing, inside a controlled facility with clear rules and no external pressure, Caden had been involved in fights, caught jumping other inmates. The defense had asked Judge West to trust their client with the full demands of probation, which requires consistent self-discipline and the ability to follow structure. The judge pointed out that he had already been handed exactly those conditions inside a facility and had chosen violence anyway. The test had already run. The result was already in.
And the pre-sentence report shows that you're a high risk level, which tells me that after they've looked at everything, that you don't have, unfortunately, a good likelihood of being successful if I were to put you on probation. And Mr. Coleman's right, we're tired of it. And there's got to be something done.
The pre-sentence investigation report formalized it. High risk. The court's own assessment said this individual was unlikely to succeed outside a custodial setting. 3 separate inputs had now converged: the footage, the incident reports, the risk classification, and none of them were pointing toward probation. Judge West sided with the prosecutor. 25 years in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Corrections. Because a deadly weapon was involved, he would have to serve at minimum half that sentence before parole eligibility could even be considered. The conviction also meant he could never legally possess a firearm or ammunition again under Texas law. The weapon that had brought him into that courtroom was now permanently closed off from his life by statute.
Mr. Fontenette, I understand that this is harsh, and I know you believe this is harsh, but I think this is necessary. I hope that you go and you make things right. You can get out of prison, you're still going to be young, and you can make your life better. That's going to be up to you, okay? You can go back with the bailiff.
She said it herself. Harsh, but necessary. Those 3 words carried the full weight of the hearing. She was not delivering 25 years with indifference. She was stating clearly that the fear sustained inside that store, prolonged, weaponized, deliberate, was larger than the mercy sitting across from her. Before the bailiff moved, she told Caden he could still leave prison a young man, that the work of rebuilding remained available to him, that the choice going forward was entirely his.
Aaron, we spoke with District Attorney Keith Giblin, and he says times have changed and the ongoing violence involving teens need to stop or they'll suffer the consequences. Judge Raquel West sentenced 18-year-old Caden Fontenette to 25 years behind bars for aggravated robbery.
The courtroom sentence was not just about Caden Fontenot. It was about a community tired of violent crime, a prosecutor demanding tougher punishment, and a judge willing to deliver it.